Come on, Keira. Come on, here you go. I know you've got one arm. It takes you slightly longer to get on stage right now.
Oh gosh, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place right now. My name is Keira, like Dylan said, and I am a youth here. I've been coming to C3 for about 5 years now, but I've only really got involved in the last year and a bit, I'd say. But I have always felt that C3 is where I need to be, and it's where I'm called to be. And when I was asked to talk today, I kind of thought a lot about what I was going to preach about, because depending on the verse I chose, I would have to have a different level of vulnerability. And no offense, wasn't sure how vulnerable I wanted to be with everyone. And my dad recommended this book to me called A Purpose-Driven Life. Great book, recommend it. And so I've got my book, I've got my highlighter, and some little post-it notes because I take reading very seriously. And I get to a chapter called Sharing Your Life Message. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. It's almost like God knew. And I'm reading the book, and it talks about our weaknesses and how we should share them, and we should be vulnerable because ministry begins with vulnerability. And it then goes on to say, the more you share your struggles and you break down that wall, the more God is able to use you in serving others. And after reading this, I was like, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable. It's going to happen. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And it also says, those who believe in the Son of God have a testimony of God in them. And I have a testimony, right? All of us have testimonies, and so I'm going to share that today. The verse that I have chosen is Psalm 23, verse 4. Most people will know it. It's, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And a little bit of a backstory. My parents got divorced when I was 4 years old. And I lived with my biological mother during the week, and I would see my dad on weekends. Now, my mother was a non-Christian woman who was very abusive, and she would often bring people into our house as well who would hurt us. And she would then sometimes leave me with my two younger sisters. So by the time I was 7, I was looking after a 2-year-old and a newborn for hours by myself. And she had a very short fuse. She wasn't a strong person in herself, and you never really knew what was going to set her off. So I was constantly scared, because I could do something one day and it would be fine, and I would do it another day and there would be big consequences. And because of this, I kind of learned to be quiet, and I kept to myself, because if I was able to be safe, I could keep my sisters safe, right? And that was my main goal. And now, the other side, for those of you who know me, my dad is like one of my favorite people in the whole world. Love him so much. And to not be able to see him all the time sucked. It was so bad. But when I did see him for like that one weekend, the first thing I was like, please can I go to Grant's house? Please can I go to Grant's house? And every time he was like, yeah, sure, you can go to Grant's house. And when I would go, she would take me to her church, which is where I got to see all my family and my friends and my cousins, and I got to spend the day with people who made me feel loved and made me feel important and like I had worth. And when I would walk through the doors of that church, I felt safe and I felt comforted, and I was like, okay, so this is what home is supposed to feel like. And during the services, the kids would be with the parents and then would go out later on to do their own thing. And my cousins and I used to color in. I do lots of art, so yeah. And if I'm being honest, I only really half listened to what I was being told in the services, because I was like this big and didn't really care about much because I wasn't a whole person yet. And one thing that really stuck with me, and I remember, is they were talking about something, and all I heard was, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And I was like, ooh, okay, that's quite strong. Brushed it off, kept doing my own thing. And this is a verse that I have carried with me in my heart through everything. I mean, I still hold it with me all the time today. And I recite it in the moments where I'm scared, or in those times where I thought I wasn't going to survive because I didn't know what was happening. And God has always been with me, regardless of whether I believed it or not. But the more I said this verse and the more I spoke this over me, the more I believed it. And I kind of built up the courage to tell my mom that I wanted to live with my dad, which was very scary. And so I got taken out of that situation because I spoke that over me. I wasn't scared anymore because God was with me. And I now live with my dad and my stepmom, who is an amazing woman. She is literally like been a better mom to me than I could have ever asked for. And yeah, now I get to stand up here and share my testimony with everyone, which is very exciting. And just, I will fear no evil. I was thinking about this and I was like, it's strong, but why is it strong? It is a statement of unwavering confidence and trust in God's protection and presence in your life, right? And it's kind of stating how important it is to rely on God in the moments where you are most vulnerable and helpless, which is what I did in these moments. And I kept speaking this over myself. And I mean, now look at me. Then when I moved here in 2017, so I'm originally from South Africa, I wanted to come to youth, but I was scared because I was like, oh no, they're not gonna want me there. These people they're not gonna like me. I don't deserve to be there. Don't really know God that well. And I was speaking these things over myself and I was putting these labels on me. And I remembered this verse again, I will fear no evil for you are with me. And God took those away. I was not scared anymore. And I came into church. I came into last year's youth conference and I prayed and I was like, Lord, please just show me my community. And that is what he did. And now I have amazing people in my life who help me grow in my faith and strengthen my relationship with God. I think I have some pictures, if those are gonna come up. These are my friends. And yeah, so we rarely see the good purpose that God has for us in the pain and the failure while it's happening because you're so focused on you being hurt and the fear, right? But when you look back on it, God has taken your weaknesses and your struggles and he's turned them into a testimony to help other people. So he has used what I went through as a gift and he has put me in a place where I can now make a difference. And I am part of the kids ministry, so I have been put into that where I can look after kids and I can help them grow in their faith. And Psalm 23 verse 4 is my favorite verse because it has gotten me through all of these tough times, and I am now able to live for God. And I truly believe that it has helped shape me for the purpose that he has for me. And he is working in me in so many ways, and he is working through all of you in so many ways. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in church and youth later on.
If you enjoyed this video today, why don't you click subscribe and click on that notification bell to get a notification the next time we upload a video. And if you're new or you've been coming to the C3 Church for a little while now, why don't you find out what your next step might be in the journey of faith? Click on the next step link in the description below to find out what your next step in your journey might be.